Very well, welcome to Doctor Who review. This is my third review. I did do some reviews earlier. I think it was this year or last year. It is last year, not earlier this year, because this is earlier in the year when we're talking about. I did some reviews earlier in the year, and there is some stuff that we need to talk about that it's kind of annoying me, and it's kind of turning me off of Doctor Who. And this is a dark period for Doctor Who. There's just something that's not right about it, and there hasn't been since probably the end of Matt Smith's era, really. Like, if we think about it, yes, the 12th Doctor was a good Doctor at the end of his era, but series 8 and 9 went downhill, and that's when we started seeing some mistakes from Doctor Who. And I'm gonna see if well, this is an unedited video. This is my point of view, and here's some things that I think will improve Doctor Who. And I've seen other sagas do this, and I think it is time for Doctor Who to take a massive break. Probably a 5-year gap. Yes, I'm thinking that drastic. Yes, it's great taking these years gaps, but what we've learned from it is nothing. Nothing changes in a year. It needs to take 5 years, and I think 5 years is pretty decent. 5 or 3 years off, because Doctor Who is repeating constantly. Like, the stories are crap, and I just didn't think this year's New Year's Eve special was that great. It was a pretty decent episode if someone wanted to get introduced to Doctor Who. If you were like going out for something, or you needed something in the background and you wanted to watch some Doctor Who, that was probably the episode. But it is an episode that was executed well. The storyline was there, and I could see it. I could see Chip Knowles been working a little bit harder on that story. But the execution's crap again, and it keeps happening. And Judy Whittaker's just not a great doctor. She needs to leave soon, because she can't be there for a fourth season. I'm sorry, but she's not a great doctor. All the doctors before her have been pretty decent. Her doesn't work. There's a few doctors that don't work for me, like Colin Baker. Yes, he had a few good stories, like Judy Whittaker. And this is kind of the same era that Colin Baker was in. Two like one bad writer and one bad doctor. Same with Peter Davison. Peter Davison wasn't bad, though. He actually worked with it, and it worked perfectly fine. But what I want to see is, I want to see change, and there has been some change. It was released 2 days ago that John Bishop is going to be joining the cast. We knew that Graham and Ryan were going to be leaving at the end of the special. Unfortunately, we knew that was going to happen. They're going on to bigger stuff. We know that Bradley Walsh does the chase and needs to put more commitment in that. And to be fair to him, he was a very good companion, but I think the reason he left deep down is not because of the commitment. I think he just didn't. I think he went into it thinking it was going to be really good, and probably I think he's done the right decision. I think no top actor at the moment should be working for Doctor Who until they prove that they're back to where they were with David Tennant and Matt Smith, because there hasn't, for the last 4 seasons, Doctor Who, well, let's be honest, last 3 seasons, Doctor Who has struggled, realistically. Let's be honest. Season 10 was a good season, but it revived Doctor Who for a little bit, and it was a really good finale series for series 12. But out of the last 5 seasons, season 10 has been the best season. Let's be honest. Season 12 was an improvement, but not by much. Really wasn't by much. Judy Whittaker's character's awful. Chibnall does not have any right to be a Doctor Who writer right now, because he's screwed Doctor Who up even more than what it was coming into this new era. And I don't understand where Doctor Who's going now. Yes, we're getting longer episodes, and that's great, but I don't want longer episodes anymore. It was great at first hearing we are going to get longer episodes, but people don't want to watch shitty long episodes. You get half an hour of good story in this episode, and then you get the other half an hour that doesn't give shit, really. I'll be honest, not even half an hour was great. 20 minutes, realistically, of the initial 60 minutes was great about the episode. I loved the Battle of the Daleks, but there wasn't anything there. Literally, it was two Daleks. They get destroyed instantly. What happened to them? I do like the new Daleks. Not the greatest Daleks of all time. I think the gold ones are the best of all time because they've been in the most amount of Dalek episodes. But the new Daleks weren't too bad, and it's been great to see like a civil war, like we saw in the 1988 episode, the 1989 episode, not 1988 episode, of the Daleks, the last appearance we saw before the new era. But yeah, if I was going to rate it out of 10, I would rate it a not solid 6. I would rate it about a 6. It wasn't a solid 6. It's just over the halfway point. It's something I could get used to. I could watch maybe once again, but I probably wouldn't watch it loads of times. To be fair, Dalek episodes have peaked since that finale of series 4. They haven't been great, I'll be honest. The only real great one was that series 9 one with Davros Singh. That was not a bad episode with the Daleks, but since then Daleks they haven't worked, and I think the reason they avoid the Daleks is because no one's written a good Dalek episode since series 4. So I don't mind series 5's Dalek episode, but it was too short. I just didn't understand it. But yeah, be honest, I'm not looking forward to series 13. I was hoping that was the start of the revive for Doctor Who, but nothing changes for Doctor Who. And I keep saying is Doctor Who need to either go away from the actual universe of Doctor Who and bring Torchwood or something back. Torchwood needs to return for sure and needs to beat Doctor Who, and then Chibnall needs a slapping on his wrist, and that might be the slapping on the wrist. But yeah, a 6. It's okay. It wasn't the best episode of all time. I think the best episode of all time is Genesis of the Daleks, probably my favourite one of all time. But it's Chibnall. It's really Chibnall, or I think both need to go. Chibnall and Judy Whittaker both need to go. Next, this is the final story we've got, and the final thing I need to talk about is John Bishop is going to be joining the Doctor Who cast from series 13 onwards. As I said, Graham and Ryan from the TARDIS are leaving. Yasmin is going to be staying, and John Bishop. I think this might work. I know a lot of things haven't worked with Judy Whittaker, but this is probably Judy Whittaker's last season. I don't know whether it is. It would be great if Judy Whittaker could have a good third season, because season 2 was a better improvement, and if she can stop making the sarcastic jokes, like make jokes that actually work. If there's a comedian on the series, I think it will work, because she's a jokey character, but none of the jokes haven't worked. And I think the reason they brought John Bishop in is to make it a bit better comedy. So I think this might actually work, because if you think about it deep down, Judy Whittaker likes to tend to have a joke. And I think they're trying to make it a little bit less serious. Like, the 12th Doctor was serious, let's be honest. And the 10th and 11th was a bit serious at points, but not serious too enough. But the thing is, with series 13, they need to get the jokes right. If the jokes are right and they can get everything perfectly right with John Bishop, because John Bishop is probably one of the best comedians in Britain, and if they can make him get in charge of the writing and the comedy bits, I think it will work so much better. If John Bishop watches like classic Doctor Who, like not classic Doctor Who, but Doctor Who that was at the beginning of the new era, and the comedy there, if we can have that and hopefully get Captain Jack back for this series, that will be great. I'm hoping Captain Jack returns. I don't know what happened to him at the end of the episode. He just disappeared. He might have teleported somewhere. And to be fair, I think I've got to give hope for Doctor Who. I'm hoping this is a turning point, because things have been going down for Doctor Who. It was a good episode, but it wasn't amazing. And I want an amazing episode from Judy Whittaker. I want an episode that we will think, because I don't want to keep saying get Judy Whittaker out. I've never said that before, but I don't want to keep saying it if she's still here after 4 or 5 seasons. So yeah, I think this season 13 is going to be a big one. It will depend on the future. If she says she's going to leave, that'll be great anyway, because it will just mean we get a new Doctor's coming on. But I don't think she'll be leaving. I think she'll come. I think this season's going to. I think series 13, this is my prediction, I think will work, and then she'll probably stay for another 2 more after that. So we might even see her until series 15. I'm hoping she leaves if she doesn't do well in series 13. I'm really hoping if she doesn't get it out the bag this series, she needs to leave. And Chibnall, because Chibnall's probably ruined her legacy. The same thing happened to Peter Capaldi in the first 2 seasons. They had writers, Stephen Moffat. He was a good writer at the beginning of his career, but like at the end he just screwed it up, and in the last series he did really well. It's a tendency to have doctors do really well in their last season. And the only doctor I really have a proper connection with is 3 doctors right now. Matt Smith, not Christopher Eccleston, that was a big mistake. David Tennant, Matt Smith, and John and Peter Capaldi. They were all 3 really good doctors, solid doctors, and they all had their ups and downs episodes, and there's some episodes I don't like about all of them, including David Tennant. That probably is my favourite Doctor in my lifetime that I've watched live. But overall, I'm going to be honest, this episode was a 6. And I really want to see what John Bishop can bring to the companions. I think it's going to be more comedy, and they've tried to do comedy, and that's great. They're trying to do something different to Peter Capaldi, because Peter was definitely serious. There was some times where he got a little bit of like laughter in series 10, but he was a serious Doctor. Let's be honest. But yeah, overall. I think we need a change, either with the Doctor, Chibnall, or both next season, and it depends on series 13. If series 13 does well, I think all they need to do is have probably 3. They need 3 okay storylines and 7 good storylines, because they need a really good storyline next series. And yes, the Timeless Child is a big thing, but that needs to continue. If that is what we're going with now, with the Doctor being there at the beginning of the Time Lords and being like this god, they need to like back it up. They didn't say anything except for one little bit with Ryan and the Doctor sitting down about the Timeless Child. Like, that doesn't still make any sense to me, and I think it doesn't make any sense to any Doctor Who fan. And if you think that's a good idea, bringing the Timeless Child into the series, I think it would be good. They just don't execute anything right. It's like like anything, if you don't execute any movie right, you're gonna not have a good movie. And I don't know what goes through their heads. They get hot. The build up's great, but when you get to the end, it's like, what the fuck happened? So yeah, I think execution, good storylines, good writing from Chipnall. I see a little bit of improvement. Not gonna lie, he's improved a little bit, Chipnall, this episode. I think that was probably one of his solid episodes, but he's not had a great episode. He hasn't had an amazing episode. He needs a wow factor episode. He needs a really good start. Like, I'll be honest, Series 12 didn't do really well. It got a bit confusing at the beginning, and then the middle point was not bad, and then the end point was just shit. And they just shitted it all off. But yeah, I can't see where Chibnall's going with Series 13, really, with John Bishop. But if they can get Bishop to write some of the comedy lines, it will just be better. Execute it better. Get the comedy right. Because, yes, comedy's great. And we've seen it with Doctor Who lines. Some crazy funny lines from Doctor Who. But it doesn't work when you've got someone who's an actor who never normally is funny. Like she's never been in a funny thing, and like Chibnall's not a comedy writer. So to bring Bishop in, that's the only reason why I think they've done it, because Bishop is a comedy. He's a comedian. He's not really an actor, so they're probably getting that a little bit better, and I'm hoping that is the only reason, because if they're using Bishop just because he's a name, like they did with Stephen Fry's, they used him for a few minutes. Like, they use these big names, and yes, they're using really big names, bigger names than we saw in previous series, but big names and big actors aren't going to help Doctor Who. What's going to help Doctor Who, Chibnall, is bringing in big storylines, big exits, complete the Chimer's Charm, make it like something we understand, something that's not like confusing, because that's something that Stephen Moffat did wrong. And just execute it right. Like, that's a problem with Doctor Who. It constantly keeps happening. It's the same with Peter Davison and Matt Smith. But that is my review. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. I'll do a little bit more when Doctor Who comes out, and if there's any news and anything. But yeah, my overall rating is 6 out of 10. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys soon for more reviews and more predictions and more vlogs, if there's a vlog that comes out soon. I'm working on a project. It's my UEFA PES Euro series. It will be coming out soon. I'm just getting it all edited, uploaded, and it's on private, and then once it's uploaded, I confirm dates and it shall upload. See you soon. Bye.